So we'll discuss about the four deployment models today: public cloud, private cloud, community cloud, and the hybrid cloud. And all of them hold their own significance. They have got their own values. So let's discuss about them. The public cloud, the private cloud, the community cloud, and the hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud, as the name itself indicates, it will be an amalgamation or a combination of all three clouds, public, private, and community, put together on a single platter. So what does the public cloud says? The public cloud is infrastructure is available for public use. Means anywhere can use it without any problems. So that's why we say the public cloud is a not it's not for profit, and that's why it is commonly hosted by the central and the state governments, because they work for masses, they work for common people. So any cloud infrastructure for which the government is not charging anything and is providing free of cost to the end users, we say fall under the category of the public cloud. Like for example, there is a Meghraj cloud by the NIC. In East Delhi, we got Shastri Park, and there they have got their huge data centers established there. So they got multiple number of the web servers that provides the web Meghraj cloud as a public cloud to the end users. Some of them it's a paid service, and some of it's a free of cost also, because it's catering to the so many public and departments of the various central and the state governments as such. Now, private cloud infrastructure is operated for the exclusive use of an organization. So, if any organization is creating a cloud-based web infrastructure wherein they want to share the data only among the employees of the same company or of the different branch offices of the same organization in India or abroad. For example, HP data centers, the Microsoft private cloud, the Elastra private cloud, the IBM private cloud. So these are the cloud which the company has created for sharing of the data, for distribution of the data, and let's say there could be many number of the ASP.NET projects or the advanced Java project which are getting designed and developed among the multiple branch offices of the same organization. So they can allow the employees to share their data using the private cloud, which is exclusively proprietary to that employees of the same organization. They will have the login credentials, they will have their own user ID and passwords, with the help of which they can log in and then share the data and access the data. Community cloud is one where the cloud has been organized to serve a common function or a purpose. So if the initiative by the government or by the NGOs, non-governmental organization, is to provide certain services for which it is meant for the masses again, and but then again for a specific community as such, I'm focusing on a specific purpose, on a specific task. For example, nowadays, and we have got the India International Trade Fair going on in Delhi under by the ITPO. So they can provide the cloud only for specified duration of time, only for all the vendors who have set up their stalls for the selling of the products within the premises of the India International Trade Fair venue as such. So it's a community cloud, a cloud which has been established to meet a specific task or a purpose, and that too for a specified duration of time. Now it can be paid, it can be free, so there is no hard and fast. It all depends upon the cloud service providers that they can provide the in infrastructure free of cost, or they can charge it. But then it is meant for a specified task. If I compare it to public cloud is for the masses forever. It's 24 by 7. Just like the Wi-Fi connectivity being provided by the Indian Railways on the railway stations. So they don't charge. 24 by 7 connectivity is there, but they said your first 30 minutes is free and thereafter it is chargeable, because let's say people should not misuse it. So as a vendor, as a company, they are setting their own way how to provide the cloud based services to the user. Now hybrid cloud is an amalgamation of all three of them. So it combines multiple clouds, which can include public, private, community, where those clouds retain their unique identity but are bound together as a unit as such. So they can retain their individual identity, but then I can have a mix and match combination, something like this. A community cloud can work as a public cloud also or as a private cloud also. If a community cloud start charging this money for the services they provide, they become a private cloud. If they don't charge anything, all the services are providing free of cost, then it becomes a public cloud as such. For example, the CloudSim software which we are using from the Manjara Soft Limited, it's all free. We are not paying anything to Manjara Soft in Australia. Last class maybe we used that software. We did not pay anything to the Manjara Soft. It was a free of cost software, but only for academic person, only for research oriented work. If I start developing my cloud based software using the CloudSim, then yes, it becomes a private cloud. Then I need to pay to the company whose software I'm using as such. So just like the example of Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure. So they come in both the versions. They can come in the versions like a enterprise edition, which is fully chargeable, academic edition for 30 days trial limit, or academic edition completely free of cost. But they can have the other edition also. Okay, let's say if they're having 20 features in their web-based software, 10 they will provide free of cost, remaining 10 are chargeable. So it's all depend upon the company's revenue model, how they would like to provide the services to the end user. Moving on with the same difference, public, private, and community cloud. Public cloud, as I said earlier, they're usually owned or provided by the governments, the central or the state governments, or by the public sector undertakings, or a large industry group or any organization selling the cloud-based services. So it could be a holistic work. It's a charitable work. You are not charging anything because you are providing the services free of cost as such. Like we see the CBSC, the Delhi government, or any other government, they do a lot of things for the educational task. They provide many of their services free of cost on the portals. You don't have to charge anything from anybody. Private cloud is something like if I take the carry on with the example of the educational task, like we have got the Byju's, we have got Vedantu. They have started their own cloud-based services wherein their web portals can only be accessed or shared by the authenticated users who have paid the money in advance. Then the company issued them the login credentials, and then using their user ID and password, they log into their clouds and then access the web based contents from the users as such. So it's all money based. The revenue model is that you have to pay first and then use it. But then they also provide a 15 free day trial classes. So that becomes a part of the community cloud, wherein you are serving only for a specified duration of a time, not for lifetime, not for the whole of the things as such. That's so that you are meeting specific customers who are interested in getting your services. So it may be for one organization or for several organizations, but they share common concerns such as their mission, policies, security, regulatory compliance need, and so on. So it could also be set up by the specific communities to meet their specific ends. Like we have got the I work in Java and Advanced Java. We got a community for only for Java bloggers. So that's a community wherein we are sharing the common concerns and we share the information with each other. And if there is any doubt, we help out each other. I'm also part of the one environment called the Opportunistic Network Environment. There are also a lot many developers around the world log into their community, share their concerns, share their cause. If they're stuck somewhere, we help out each other. So that's more a community-based work wherein you can access and share the content, the data without any specific charging. Means you provide the service free of cost and you get the services also free of cost. Hybrid again is a combination of everything, public, private, and community. So it may offer standardized or proprietary access to a data and application as well as application portability. So even I can port the application from one server to another server. Let's say in the infrastructure of a service, my site is hosted early on the NIC Meghraj cloud. Then I can move on to the there's a called Badal Cloud by the IIT Delhi or by the Meghmala Cloud by the IIC Bangalore. So I can shift on my data or the content which I want everyone to access from the NIC to the cloud-based services being offered by the other vendors. Now, other vendors could be the pure private companies like IBM, Microsoft, Google, or by the universities. Like almost all the IITs have got their own cloud-based labs. Even the IIC Bangalore, which is in the ranking the number one in India. So they have already set up the infrastructure there. They have got their huge data centers having the servers and racks in which they already deploy the cloud-based service, and all they've got good processors also, which can provide not only to the they can cater to the needs of the students and the faculty from the same institute, but also from the neighboring institutes and the neighboring people. So if I want to test my software on a cloud-based environment, I can go to the IIT Delhi. They have got their Badal cloud there. I can request them. They will say, okay, you can carry out the testing and deployment of your cloud-based software, but you need to pay, let's say, 100 rupees per day. So they can charge for, let's say, a number of hours or number of weeks or number of days for which you are using their cloud-based services. So it all depends upon the cloud service providers, how they will like to share or give the access to their clouds environment to the end users. Moving on, we talk of the certain benefits and the advantages of using the cloud computing, and we'll take some real-time examples also, so that we can have the knowledge about their applicability, usability, and the same benefit will also serve as a part of the characteristic feature of the cloud computing. So whether you call them a benefit or the characteristic feature, it's almost actually matching the same. Now there are certain features. We'll discuss one of them one by one, all of them. First is on-demand self-service. A client can provision computer resource without the need for interaction with the cloud service provider personnel. For for example, if you go to the food joint like McDonald's or KFC for that matter, they don't serve the food or the meal on the table, right? So if you are interested in having the meals, you go to the counter, you identify the menu item which you like to eat, make the payment, get the delivery of the meals, go to the table and have it. So they don't service the things on the table, just like the Bikaner wala, or even Bikaner wala and Haldiram's now have got the counters where you have to make the payment, get the food. Only if you go to the traditional joint like Sagar Ratna, where they serve the food on the table as such. So on demand means the person has to be active. He has to do all the jobs. He has to make a payment. He will wait for the meals to get ready. He will go to the counter, take the meals, go back to the table. Then, if he wants to have a water, nobody will serve water on the table. He will go to the nearby water cooler, get the water. So everything is on demand. When you feel the need, you do it. Nobody will provide it to you as such. So here, that's what we say here. A client can provision computers without the need for interaction. There is no interaction. You on your own, on your need, are doing the things. Nobody is asking you to do it. For example, if you go to our website, ipu.ac.in, ours is a website which we have hosted on the Meghraj cloud of the NIC server. So you go to the website. Now we on the website don't do any authentication, don't do any association. We don't give the login credentials. We don't ask you what is your user ID and password. We don't ask you what is your enrollment number, what is your name. In whichever notice you are interested in, you click on the hyperlink, download the concerned PDF on your machine. So we don't do a session tracking, we don't create a sessions, we don't do a session tracking, we don't create cookies, we don't send the cookies to your storage onto your client machine. So it's all on demand driven. You come, you get the data, and then you go off. So we are also not charging anything. So but you have to take initiative first. That's what's the concept of the on demand. You make the first move, and then you get the data which you are interested in. Broadband network access is more like a network based environment. Access to the resources in the cloud is available over the network using standard methods in a manner that provides platform independent access to client of all the types. Now, when we say broad network access, so if we go to the pure networking environment, when we talk of the wired network, IEEE 802.3, what we say Ethernet, we have divided the network into local area network, metropolitan area network, wide area networks. Even we have set topologies like the bus topology, ring topology, star topology, mesh topology, matching to this kind of the network. So you have to identify which network is best suitable for providing a web-based connectivity in your office, in your organization, so the user can access the data. However, if it is a wireless network, in wireless network, we do not have this LAN, MAN, and WAN. We don't do that kind of a classification because here the nodes are mobile in nature. So you can't have a topology like the bus topology or ring topology or star topology because nodes are moving continuously. So you can't have a bus topology like environment. It virtually cannot be. You can't have a ring topology. You can't have a, because machines are not static in nature. They are continuously moving. They are mobile. So in wireless network, we don't use any of the uh, pre-configured network setup, just like what happens in the case of the IEEE 802.3 in the Ethernet environment. In the IEEE 802.11 standard, the wireless network, we don't follow that. That's why the routing protocols of the wired network cannot be applied to the wireless network. In wired network, you would have studied about the autonomous system based routing protocol, and then we classify the routing protocol two categories like interior and exterior autonomous based routing protocol. In interior, we got RIP, routing information protocol. We got BGP, border gateway protocol. In exterior, we have got the in interior we have got RIP and OSPF, routing information protocol, and open shortest path first protocol. In the exterior category, we have got the BGP, border gateway protocol. But I cannot apply these protocol to the wireless network because they are is based on the assumption that the nodes are static in nature, the machines are static in nature, they cannot move around. But in the case of wireless network, mobility is induced in it. The nodes are bound to be mobile and they will keep on moving around. That's why we use a routing protocol like AODV, ad hoc on-demand distance vector routing protocol. We use a DSDV, destination sequence distance vector routing protocol. We use DSR, dynamic source routing protocol. So routing protocols for the wired network are different from the routing protocol of the wireless network. So in a broad network access, we always say this includes a mixture of heterogeneous operating systems and thick platforms such as laptops, mobile phones, and the PDS, the personal digital assistants. So the cloud-based infrastructure can be accessed both by wired network devices as well as by the wireless network devices. So it could be your laptops, your desktop PCs, your mobile phones, your PDAs, any kind of the devices. They can be used to access the cloud-based services. Then we got something called resource pooling. Resource pooling means, first of all, every cloud service provider has to decide what are the resources available to him for which he can provide the services to the end user, right? So as a cloud service provider, I need to define what my resources are, and then I will provide it to the end users. So here a CSP or a cloud service provider creates the resources that are pooled together in a system that supports multi-tenancy. Multi-tenancy means more than one user. For example, in a typical, when I took an example of my house, uh, let's say if I got 3 BHK house, one option is that I give it only to the one family who will completely occupy 3 BHK, 3 bedroom hall kitchen. Alternatively, what I can do, I might set up a lodge or a small guest house, and then all the three rooms I will give it to three different families, maybe a single person, maybe a bachelor for that matter. So three rooms can be given to three different bachelors, and then one hall can, as a mess, can be shared among these three bachelors as such. So what I'm doing, I'm going from single tenancy to multi tenancy. Resource is same, the 3 bedroom hall kitchen. Kitchen is shared, the hall is shared, the mess is shared, but the three bachelors are living in three individual rooms with their own privacy maintained as such. So I'm supporting the multi-tenancy feature. Or I can give my entire resource to a single family. So they will use my 3 BHK as such. So here, first of all, I need to create a resource. That means I need to create a house first. It should be ready to move with all the fixtures ready, the lights, the fans, everything should be well furnished. Then only the people will come and now I can add the cost of these resources to the billing to the tenant, because if I'm providing a furnishing to my house, like the let's say for example, all the three rooms will have the wardrobes. All the three rooms have got their own washroom with a geyser fitted them. All the three rooms have got the television sets. All the three rooms have got the ACs fitted them. So when I'm providing the extra services, I will charge them into their monthly bill. Same way here, on the cloud service provider will ask me, what are the kind of resources you want from me? Are you interested in only having the virtual CPU? Then you, let's say you pay 100 rupees per month. Are you interested in having the one virtual CPU with 2 GB of RAM? Then you pay me 200 rupees per month. Are you interested in having one virtual CPU with 4 GB of RAM and 8 GB of hard disk space? Then you pay 1000 rupees per month to me. So as the resources will increase, the cloud service provider has full freedom to charge the money accordingly. Or if they want, or if I say cloud service provider ask me, if you don't want anything, no hardware resources, you just want to host the software under the platform as a service category, you bring your ASP.NET software or a mean stack design software, Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node.js. That is what's a mean stack design software, or any of the advanced Java technologies design software like Hibernate, Strut, Spring, Velocity. Then you bring a software, and since you don't want anything, you want a bare essential features for them, then I will charge only 50 rupees per month. So they will only provide Apache Tomcat Server Enterprise Edition, because the academic edition is free of cost. Enterprise edition they are going to provide, and then I will host my software onto them. So they will charge me according to the kind of the resources I'm going to use from them. So resource pooling means you have got a collection of resources. The cloud service provider will have a collection of resources from the bucket of resources, and then depending on your own need, on your own requirement, you can pick up one or more than one services. So physical and virtual system are dynamically allocated or reallocated as per the need. Physical systems, we're talking about the pure servers. Virtual system talks of the data, the softwares. Softwares we know are logical in nature, so you can have even the versioning of the softwares, and depending on the need, you download some of the softwares. Like the GitHub is very popular repository. You can pull the data from the now again the GitHub even allows, if you want to, you can have a public repository or private repository. So they give you a choice for that matter. So whether you want to upload the data in a public platform, go for a public cloud. If you want to go in a private environment, go for a private cloud. So intrinsic in this concept of pooling is the idea of abstraction that hides the location of resources, because you will never ever come to know that you are being provided access to the data by the cloud service provider, where the cloud service provider is physically located, whether they have got the server in Delhi or Bombay or Chennai or Bangalore or in the US, New York or Atlanta, or maybe in the Australian Melbourne. We really do not know where the servers are located. So the data will be provided to us and we'll use it. Even for example, we are using a WhatsApp. We really do not know whether we are getting the content right from the Indian based servers or from the abroad server. That's why most of the top notch companies like Facebook, the Twitter, the WhatsApp, they are always in a fight with the local governments, because data which is not hosted onto your soil, onto the law, on the land of the country, the company is not accountable for it. Company is not responsible for it. So company says don't have a server, says we are providing the data on the virtual cloud platform to the so many users. We are not bounded by the laws of your land. We are not bounded by the laws of your country, because we are not in a physical environment. Everything is being done in the virtual workspace. So that's why for the government it's difficult to keep a track of these social network platforms. Coming to the core concept, the resources can be virtual machines, which we discussed last lecture also. The Goldberg and Popek came up with the idea of that why can't we can have the multiple instances of a physical machine. So when you mimic or replicate the physical machine, you get up the virtual machine. But then for virtual machines, the operating system should also not be single user. It should support multi-user concept, so the many users can simultaneously provide the services at the same point of time. So virtual machine processing space, we say PE, processing elements, memory storage, the network bandwidth and connectivity. Everything are all resources. And then you can provide the resources to single tenancy basis, that means single user at a time, or multi-tenancy basis, many users can simultaneously access the data without any problem. Another feature, a very common feature, very popular feature of the cloud service provider is elasticity model. Now, if you see the elastic, you can stretch it and compress it. So depending on your requirement, you can use it. So nobody gives you constraint. So if you are just tying a piece of papers, or if you are tying a piece of cloths in your house, you can use elastic for that matter. So elastic give me that flexibility wherein I can increase or decrease the usage of it. So resources can be rapidly and elasticity provision. The system can add the resources either by scaling up the system, that means increasing it, or scaling down the systems. Or maybe it may work on an automatic basis or may work on the manual basis as such. For example, if you take an example of electricity, during the summertime, the electricity consumption increases a lot. Why? Because almost every household is using two ACs or three ACs. Split ACs are there. Every household is using a refrigerator, maybe one or two. So these ACs, they are electricity guzzlers. They consume a lot of electricity, and more the number of ACs, more electricity get consumed as such. And in a country like ours, where population is huge and the consumption of electricity is very high, and maximum electricity is all coal based. We have seen the around a month back there was a coal crisis in India, and Indian government has to import a coal in huge amount from the Australia, from China, just to meet the demands, the local demands of the country, because the electricity consumption is very high. Now this electricity consumption is not stable around the year. it varies from state to state. For example, if you're in North India, you will see that in the summers we got the entire north is very hot, right? From Punjab to Delhi to Haryana, Punjab, almost everywhere. It's very hot as such. But in the winters, the electricity consumption boils down. Though we use the geysers, but then only till a limited point. Not they don't run 8 hours, just like the ACs. Which for the entire night the people run the AC. So the elasticity model fits into the electricity model. The consumption is dynamic. It's not static around the year. It varies almost from month to month also. So we can never say a person who is consuming, let's say, 800 units of electricity in the month of June will consume 800 electricity a unit of electricity in the month of January also. It won't be. It hardly 250 units of electricity will consume because fans are off, ACs are off, so electricity consumption drastically reduces. So depending on his consumption, he will be given a meter and metering will be done. Now in metering also, we'll discuss another characteristic feature next slide. We talk of the metering. Depending on your consumption, you will be charged. So there is a meter. Now I can have, nowadays we have got two kind of meter. One is a prepaid and one is a postpaid. Not many societies in Noida and Gurgaon, they have gone prepaid electricity model. They say you give a top up of 5,000 rupees to the electricity and distribution companies, and then they will provide the electricity to you. Postpaid model is a traditional model where they say you consume the electricity first and then we'll charge it from you. Both the models have got their own plus and minus. It depends upon the companies, what kind of revenue model they work. Government by and large goes for the postpaid model. Private companies ask for the money first, and then they will provide you with the services. So you need to top up your electricity meter first, and then they will provide you with electricity, and you can use it to a defined time. 100 units are this much. So there are slabs now. Let's say government charges 1 rupee 80 paisa for first 100 units, 2 rupees 40 paisa for next 200 units, 3 rupees 20 paisa for next 100 units. So same slabbing is done in the cloud environment also. If you are using a cloud based services, let's say only for one day, you will be charged maybe just 5 rupees per day. If you say I'm going to use this for a week, then you will charge accordingly. That depends upon the slabs and the rates being set up by the cloud service providers. In the government setup, it is slightly low. In the private, it's very high. So it depends upon how much consumption of cloud-based services is yours. So, for example, in our NIC Meghraj Cloud, we pay almost 5,000 rupees per month to the NIC for hosting our cloud-based environment. So that depends on the kind and the quantum of resources we are using for the cloud-based services. And from the standpoint of the client, the cloud computing resources should look limitless, because for when I'm consuming the electricity at home, for me it should look limitless. There's no end to the supply of the electricity as such. So I expect all these power distribution companies who have set up their power plants in Uttarakhand, in Dadri, and all these places to supply power to me 24 by 7 by 365, because I say I'm paying them. So once I'm paying them, they should provide me with the infrastructure. Look at the highways. They are almost all the highways in India today. They are all toll driven. So you have got fast tags fitted onto your front shield, the windshield of your car or your vehicle, and you can moment you cross the toll, accordingly you are charged. So now the charges also vary from one toll to another toll, from one highway to another highway. Also depends upon the length of the highway, how many kilometers is a toll and how many is a non-toll, which means free of cost by the way. And also what is the value of the land of that particular state. So these charges are variable, they are dynamic, they are set up by the NHAI, National Highway Authority of India. According to the toll plazas, they keep on revising the rates also at times. So whether you are driving one way or in 24 hours if you're coming back, accordingly you will charge. So the companies are setting up meters. So in FASTag also you need to top up. So you need to put the money first, and then you can use the services. If you don't use it, you need to pay the double the cost. That's the penalty they impose. So if you have got a FASTag and it does not have a sufficient amount for it, then you will, if your toll charge is 120 rupees in a single visit, you will charge 240 because you have to pay the penalty for it. So in elasticity model, what we say is, depending on the requirement of the consumption of the user, the you will be done billing. And since the requirement of the user is not static, it's not constant throughout. So as and when he comes, depending on the kind of the resources he wants, he will be charged in that proportion. Measured service is same example. What is a metered service? So how much amount you pay, you can use that much amount of service, or you can use a service first and then pay later. So you will be metered, or measuring of the services will be done. So use of the cloud system resources is all measured. You are going to quantify it, audit it, and report it to the customer based on the metered system. So that's why if you want to access the Amazon cloud, so they will say you log into the portal first, give your credit card numbers. They will do a check of your credit card number, whether it's a fine or not, and then they will provide certain free credits to you so that you can use that kind of the services without paying them. So some services are free of cost and some are the paid. And the client can be charged based on a known metrics such as the amount of storage used, number of transactions done, network input and output, how much is the network data being flowing on your uh, networks. Now in India, most of the time you will say we believe in downloading the data. So our download speed need to be very good. Very rarely you will find people uploading their contents on the web. Maximum Indians believe in downloading of the data. So it could be downloading of the audio files, video files, images, sounds, songs, any kind of the data for that matter. So your network input output depends upon the kind of the data you are downloading and the kind of data you are uploading onto the web. Or a bandwidth measured in bits per second, 1 Gbps, 10 Gbps. We all use networks. Amount of the processing power used, how many number of virtual CPUs you are using from the cloud service providers, and so on and so forth. So it depends upon what is the kind of resource you are using, and also what is the quantum of time for which you are going to use that particular resource. So client is charged based on the level of the services being provided to him. So he can be charged $1 per month or $2 per month, or depend upon the service providers and the revenue model. They can give certain credits free of cost, and then thereafter they can make it as a chargeable services as such. So but all these services are quantified, they are audited, they are reported, they will keep a track of you, what is the duration of time you are using that particular service, and then if the number of clients accessing your service increases or decreases, according to the billing cycle can increase or decrease. So they can charge higher amount for if your number of clients are very high. However, they can charge lower amount if the number of the clients goes down. So again, that depends upon the rapid elasticity model being used by the cloud service providers. Now moving on, we'll talk of the virtualization.